Alright. That's a piece of curly maple right there. We'll go over there in a minute. This is the straight line bar. This is how I straight line lumber when I want to get the job done quickly. And some people just strictly do it by a joiner, and there are probably half a dozen ways to get a piece of lumber straight. There's an 8-inch joiner over there. But this bar is aluminum. I think it was a concrete screed bar at one time. It's still got concrete on it, just residue of concrete. There's no chunks or anything. This one's 10 foot long, and what I've got on here, here's the end of it. It's a piece of inch. The bar is 1 by 4, 1 inch by 4 inch by 10 foot. This is a piece of 1.25 inch by quarter aluminum flat bar, same length. The screws are countersunk. This is the side that goes up against the table saw fence. This little end piece right here has got a couple of screws, as you can see, and that spikes the end of the board and holds that end in place while I'm way down at the other end feeding it through the table saw. So that's the purpose of that. Here's my table saw. This is a 10-inch cabinet saw. It's a Grizzly model. It's right there, the lumber sitting on it. And it'll cut 54 inches, 52, 53 inches to the right of the blade. Also, you can see there's a router right there down in the hole. So I can do some table routing right there also using the fence that's on the table saw. I've got an auxiliary fence hooked to it. But here, this is my in-feed table, and of course I stand between the table. There's about 3 feet there, and feed the stock through, and then of course I have an out-feed table to help catch the stock. And also when I'm straight lining or moving sheet goods, I've got a couple of rollers. Right here is the center of the blade. Alright, that said, let me get over here. There, let me flip this over. And if we sight down the board, you can see it's got curb to it. So the curb will go against this part of the fence right here. Just like that. And of course I'm doing this one-handed, but you'll get the idea of it. It fits against the fence. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and straight line these 2 sticks, this piece of curly maple. Sorry about that. This piece of curly maple and that other piece of non-curly maple. And give you an idea. I'll also point out one thing to you right here. Bring this up a little bit. Alright. Notice I do have a guard on the table saw. Always keep my guard in place. The back of the guard has been removed, and it's only supported by the single bolt underneath the deck here. And it's tweaked a little bit. It's closer back here to the fence than it is right here where the splitter is. And the purpose of that, it sort of helps keep the stock against the fence. So when we're straight line, keep an eye on that, and you'll see that move out as the stock comes through. All right. Now, to get the bar. There. Now it's spiked up a little bit. So the loop below the spike. I'm just take a measurement. Okay, here I got about 11 1/16 from this edge to the bar. So we set the fence right there, 11 1/16. So we bring up the blade a little bit. And the short piece right there, that could have been done on the joiner, but I've set up here, so I just did that one right there anyway. So, now you got one side straight. It's easy to straight line the other side. Now, I wanted to show you this, a couple things over here. Here's the planer. And I've got just some example pieces of face framing stock here. It could be, my standard here in the shop for most people is 2 inches, unless I'm getting into some other type of architectural or whatever, woodworking. But I'll cut this stock. This is a fraction under 2 inches because I'm using some scrap. This is oak. But usually I'll rip the stock at the table saw at about 2 3/32. And then I bring it over here and I set the planer up to cut just a fraction under 2 1/16, and I run all the stock together, just like that. Now you have to have a knowing that your table saw blade is perpendicular to the bed of the table saw, or to the surface of the table saw. If it isn't, then these are going to go through here like that. Everything's going to be tilted, and it's no good. But they're all sitting here nice together, sitting pretty perpendicular. It works real good. And I'll run those through in just a second, but I want to also show you a trick that I do sometimes. Planers are notorious for snipe. On small stock, to avoid snipe, you run your stock through like this, as much of an angle as you can. Obviously not like that, but with an angle like that, and that reduces. It doesn't totally always eliminate it, but it will greatly reduce it. If you got a nick in your knife, and in this case I do, then you'll have a nick coming across your stock. Also on long boards, say 8-footers, and you want a real nice finish board without the snipe, you need to use a whole board. You can start your stock in like so while it's feeding, and then as it feeds through and it's about right in that location in the middle, grab the board and pull it straight. And then when you get to the other side, pull it again. And before this end exits right here. And that'll help reduce the snipe. If you have a bench top planer, you can do that also, but you want to make sure that bench top planer is anchored down real good. So that said, I'm going to show you this. Let me crank this down. That might work. Let's see what this is. Okay, let's set this down a little bit more. That'll work right there. Alright, I'm not going to turn on the dust collector because of the noise. It sounds like a siren. And I'm going to set you down somewhere. Let's do this right here. Here's a dual drum sander, and I'm undoing the camera piece here. That's the molding machine that I use right there. It's an old Grizzly. Works real good. Alright, lock, unlock. Bear with me. Well, can't unlock the post to get it down a little bit. But this is what we call blooper video bloopers. Alright, I think you can see that. Yeah. Alright. nice and smooth, all consistently the same size. Now I used to put clamps on them, and that worked okay, and I found out I could not, and then with clamps I also had to make sure that they cleared everything right in the center. I found out I could just hold them, and it worked just well like that. So anyway, I hope you got something out of that. That's how I straight line stock and get my face frames and things ready to go, because I do this to pay the property taxes around here and earn a living, and so I've got to get the job done, and that's how I do that. On my face frames, right here, I will run all my face frames through the shaper here. That's a 1/4 inch groover. And I cut the groove in the back side of the face frame and all the necessary parts. And then up here, are all the routers. This one, right here. Oh, geez, I feel weak this morning. There you go. There's 2 1/2 inch rabbiting bits on a router shaft, and they got a 1/4 inch spacer between, and that's just a rub spacer, works real good, and that cuts the tongue on my plywood. Does a real good job. And if they start doling out, then I reverse them. I take the bottom one, put it on the top one on the bottom, and I've got fresh cutters again. And I do many lineal feet like that. And then of course I've got a fresh set in this box that goes on there while that one is at the sharp shop being taken care of. Alright, there you go. Appreciate your watching. Hope you learned something.